Shit, what's this podcast called?
Discourse of Human Events.
The discourse is just crazy.
Everything's okay, I'm just trying to act my age. Yeah, I wanna know where the hell the days go. Yeah, I wanna know where the hell the days go. I wanna look and feel years younger, baby. I wanna look and feel
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Dildos!
Alright, we're here with Chandra, Chloe, and Nick for our 2017 year review.
Also Drogo.
Just like we did last year. And Drogo.
You can't leave
Sort
out
of.
Drogo.
Actually, as soon as we said that, he left. He's like, fuck that, I'm out. I don't want no part of this.
He can do better than us, honestly.
You guys aren't entertaining enough. I'm out of here. So we're going to start with January and work our way down to December. Pretty sure it was an entertaining year. Maybe not for the good, though. So
Unless you really like Dead Bodies, then it was super entertaining.
dead bodies and bad presidents. That's pretty much the whole year.
For y'all 4chan listeners.
It's a real good year. Solid. Alright, so the only thing we have under January is January 21st. Millions of people worldwide joined the Women's March in response to the inauguration of Donald Trump as president. 420 marches. Good number. And let's see, in 168 countries, becoming the largest single-day protest in American history and the largest worldwide protest in recent history. So, Donald Trump breaking records.
Donald Trump, KKK, sexist, racist,
Anti-gay.
And that was the actual chant. That's
That's
all.
where that chant came from, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that, and I remember they had pussy hats because it was like a pink
Yeah,
hat,
I
and they called it
remember.
pussy hat or something.
Because it was like
that.
girls protesting him.
Yeah.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did
You
not
see-
go. Some people in my office actually went.
Yeah, I
A girl
did.
in my office.
I'm sure there was one in Columbus. I don't
But
know.
for
sure
men's
those-
going protest, they never wear dick hat, right?
No.
Just
This is a
wanna say.
women's march.
Yeah, why would
You don't wear a dick hat to a women's march.
But I'm
Then
just
you'd be a
saying,
dick.
historically speaking, I never see a dick hat appearing throughout human history.
Well, you can be the first one. Just knit up
You
a
can
big
do
penis.
it. Just believe in yourself, Chloe.
I think the biggest women's march may have been in Chillicothe.
Chillicothe?
Yeah, I remember
Where's
in
that?
Chillicothe.
Ohio?
Yeah.
Really? Well, that is the
Really
oddest
odd?
place I would have ever
What?
thought of.
Maybe it's because they have nothing else to do.
Maybe they're all a bunch of pussies.
Was it about, was it
I
about
see what
the
you went
women's right to vote?
That may have been it.
Okay.
There's definitely a march there that was bigger than the one in Columbus.
Hmm.
I'm looking at it right now. to
That was
actually
lady
see.
related.
Oh, this has like all women's marches, not just that specific one. Well, you know, that's still going on.
Yeah.
It's still a protest. It's still happening.
I still might wear my pussy hat.
You know, why not? Why not just keep that? Like, wear it to work and be like, are you refusing my right to protest? Alright, so that's all we have for January. What we do is we look at Wikipedia and we go through their highlights of every month for the whole year. That's the only highlight they have in January, so slow month.
Apparently.
I mean, Trump just got inaugurated, so it's probably like, not shit's happening
Can anyone
yet.
remember anything else that happened in January? I'm trying to think back.
Was
I
that
did my
the
taxes.
I do remember
was
that.
that the French terrorist that happened in January or that the
No.
year before?
I think that was the year
Yeah,
before.
that was the year.
I think that's
Okay.
what we were talking about it on the last podcast.
Alright.
Alright, so February we only have one thing too. So February 11th, North Korea prompts international condemnation by test firing a ballistic missile across the Sea of Japan.
I do remember that. It
Yeah, I
landed
do
into the
remember.
ocean a little bit off
I
the
thought
coast.
they were aiming for America.
That's just that bad.
So, like, but we didn't do anything about it, right? We're just like, oh, they're firing missiles. Are we really worried? Like, we as the U.S. aren't worried about it. We're
No.
more worried they're going to hit somebody else. With
Yeah, I saw that, like, looking, like, if you take it from a game theoretic perspective, That's actually the more likely scenario, is that they won't hit the U.S., because the U.S. would actually definitely respond if they hit the U.S. But if they hit a marginal ally of the U.S., then it becomes a big thing whether or not we respond.
Then
and
it's like a Cold War situation.
If we don't respond, then the allies will be much less likely to be our allies, right? But if we do respond, we've already kind of been drawn into a war they wanted to maybe draw us in. So it's kind of like more fucking with you if they hit an ally rather than us.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we just destroy North Korea then?
Because just hit the big red button.
I
feel like it'd be easier than the Iraq War.
I'm pretty sure just like the last Korean War, China wouldn't agree on
that's
this.
the problem.
What?
And most of the Korean War wasn't mostly fought by Koreans. It was mostly Chinese supplying everyone, just like we did for Afghanistan supplying
one of those wars.
So
when the Russians were invading. It's just
that makes sense.
A proxy war.
Oh, this is cool. So in March we have, this is kind of out of order, but I just saw it first. SpaceX conducts the world's first reflight of an orbital class rocket.
Oh, this is where they've launched it before, and then they do it again.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So it's like the same rocket's been launched into orbit.
Oh, that's the Falcon Max.
Was it the Falcon X? I don't know.
Oh.
Do you think if I tried to buy it, like I'd try to, get a lower price because it's already used?
I think they're going to still reuse it, right?
No,
how many times
just a joke about a used car. I wasn't trying for a real.
You got to go to the shady salesman first.
Can I get a used rocket?
Yeah.
Would you guys go on a SpaceX rocket, Lauren?
Not
Let's
right
say
now.
in 5 years he opens it up.
I got after there've been a lot of successful ones, I'd go.
Chandra, would you go on a SpaceX rocket ride?
I'd go on a ride.
Even if it were like what percentage chance would you still say because it's cool?
Let's say they release it in 2 years. Would you go on it? They're kind of like, I think we got the kinks worked out.
Yeah, it's probably good.
I'd probably go in 2 years.
Yeah, I would go.
If I could afford it.
Yeah, what about Mars? They have
one-way trip.
Yeah, one-way trip
one-way
to Mars.
trip?
That's always a question. Is suppose they figure out they can definitely get you there. You can definitely survive at least a year. Do you think you'd go?
No.
I don't
No coming
know
back.
about the one-way trip.
But that is historical. You'd be the first people on Mars. One of the first people on Mars.
Yeah, but I'd have a shit life on Mars. Sure, okay, I'll be remembered for having a shitty life.
Expected lifespan, a day.
It'd be a hell of a day, though.
As long as I could figure out how to plant potatoes, I'll be good.
Yeah, it's the whole not being able to go outside that I think would be...
Yeah, right? Like you're
cabin
trapped.
fever. I've seen enough horror movies to know that.
I mean, I'm an introvert, but I don't know if I'd want to be on Mars. Oh, goddamn.
You know what?
time.
I might go
That'd
just so I don't
autism.
have neighbors.
Finally, nobody's on the goddamn lawn.
I can't hear my neighbor's bass music. Floorboards is great.
And all of a sudden, an alien comes with a boombox.
Definitely not.
I haven't been ranting about this for the last week or so.
You're rethinking going, aren't you?
It's like,
Maybe Mars
doesn't how long I live.
Maybe Mars doesn't sound so bad after
Is it
all.
quiet? Great, I'll go.
Let's see, what else do we have in March? So, that was actually at the end of March. The beginning of March 10th, the UN warns the world is facing the biggest humanitarian crisis since World War II, with up to 20 million people at risk of starvation and famine in Yemen, Somalia, South Sudan, and Nigeria. First off, did any of you guys actually hear about any of this before I just read it? 'Cause I did not.
Famine and where?
Yemen, Somalia, South Sudan, and Nigeria. I didn't hear anything about this.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
20 million people at risk of starvation and famine.
Ooh, what happened today?
I'm glad we're keeping up on our news.
Worst thing since World War II. No. It's like terrible things happening in Africa is like the news item every year. Just because it became the very worst of all time this year, it's like, well, it's always a pretty shitty year.
And since World War II isn't
like a lot of them.
forever ago. I mean, it was a while ago, but yeah.
Maybe if they painted a Nazi symbol on the lack of crops, we would go, we got to go do something about it. But
So what's the reason for that famine? Is it just because of like bad
Africa.
weather
I
for
don't
the
know.
crop?
It might be bad weather. Probably a global warming thing. I think.
Okay.
This is just
Well, it
guess.
could
I don't
also
freaking
just
know.
be the political climate.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure too.
Yeah, hard to transport cargo across
It's always, they always say, like, a lot of our aid doesn't even matter because the warlord just takes
They
it.
take
anyways.
all the aid that we get. Like, when we
that
ship
makes sense.
food over, the warlords just take it and use it. So it's kind of pointless for us to ship stuff over. That's, Joe Rogan has a guy that comes on the podcast where he doesn't do that purposely. What he does is he goes over to certain tribes and digs wells for them so they don't have to travel, like, the 10 miles or whatever it is where they have to, like, get water and they, like, carry it on their heads the other 10 miles back. So
I
they
thought you were
dig
going to
wells
say,
for them.
like, he personally delivers them a sandwich or something.
Joe Rogan himself.
Here you go. Here's a sandwich.
He's sitting there making turkey sandwiches
Some peanut butter and jelly for you.
for PB&J's.
It's really a bit weird because they have to import turkey from America to Africa too. It's like
It's very inefficient.
international turkey.
Really didn't think that one out. So the other news item for March, this is the only other one, is March 29th, the UK triggers Article 50 of the
Brexit.
Lisbon Treaty, starting the Brexit negotiations. Which,
That's
I don't
actually
know
pretty
any-
historic.
I don't know too much about Brexit, but I just know it exists as they're leaving Brexit.
Yeah, I mean...
It has a funny name.
Brexit. And I don't know if Brexit was already named Brexit, but now Greece exit is also like a
It's called
thing.
Brexit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that definitely
I think it was,
wasn't a
like,
thing before
after
Brexit.
that.
So what are the like major complications or problems that they're going to have because they're leaving the UK?
So, God knows, who knows? Because it's a giant regulatory framework, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but that also is going to affect a lot of their free trade agreements with all the other countries in the EU. So they might lose that, and people are saying people are going to leave there because if they don't have any free trade,
Do they also
they're
not
gonna be
use the
more
euro
restricted.
now?
They didn't before, actually.
Oh, they didn't?
They're,
No, using
the EU's freaking complicated as shit. So there are certain countries like Britain that didn't actually have to use the euro. They kept the pound. And then there are ones which have special agreements about immigration, so there's free borders between most of the EU.
Yep.
And that's the big part that people didn't like. If you're in one EU country, you can always go to the other one.
Not always.
Exactly.
That's
That's why it's so
the problem.
complicated. It's not always. Certain ones actually have restrictions. I don't think Britain did, and that's what they were upset about, or a major part. It's like, you gotta...
People
like,
are kind of saying this was their FU
Yeah.
to politics as well, kind of like
Yeah.
what Donald Trump was to ours, like, fuck you, we're tired of politics.
It's so complicated. Like, so my thing is, in the news, that each side is just so simple. Like, it's either yay, we want to leave, or, yay, we definitely want to stay in the EU. It's like, there's so many rules and shit. Like, how do you
There's
guys
so
have
much
such a
attached
strong
to a yes
freaking
or no.
opinion on
Yeah.
this? I have no fucking clue.
That's the problem with politics in general, is
Yeah.
people see it as black and white. There's so much gray area.
Yeah. The more informed you are, the more you're like, I don't know what's going on. I have no
It's
idea.
true. That's so true. That's the more I feel like every time I start to get in a political discussion, I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know what's best. All right. So April 6th, in response to a suspected chemical weapons attack on a rebel-held town, the U.S. military launches 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles in an air base in Syria. Russia describes the strikes as an aggression, quotation mark, microaggression.
I think 59 missiles are not a micro. That's pretty macro to me. Each one's a macro.
I don't know. Are Tomahawk cruise missiles when you're the U.S. against Russia? I think that's microaggression.
Yeah, that's micro when your other choice was a nuke.
Adding, they significantly damaged U.S.-Russian ties.
This was in Syria?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sort of remember this happening, that we fired
Yeah.
missiles, because like, oh shit, we're firing missiles somewhere.
But at this
Then
point
you
in
hear
U.S.
Syria,
history,
like,
it's like,
oh.
yeah, I thought we did that every week.
That's weekly basis.
Yeah, I don't.
It seemed like it was a big story at the time, but right
It
now,
was.
in this, here, it doesn't seem that, major.
No.
That's because this is the time with Twitter, like we were talking, like, every day it's like a big news story because something's happening somewhere in the world. You're like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And then, like, 2 days later, some big story happens. You're like, oh, that's crazy.
We have a attention span of a squirrel.
Yeah.
Anything happens over 2 days, like
I'm
what?
sorry, what were you saying?
We gotta get to the point where it's like, if 6 weeks later, I'll read it if it's still important. Because 6 weeks later, I totally forgot this thing happened.
Okay, this is getting off subject, but what are you reading still about that's a big news story?
What am I reading about still? That's a big news story?
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. What news story
Sure.
is
Okay.
anybody at the table
December.
thinking about?
Tax plans.
No,
That's
only
not 6
3
weeks ago.
That
I
hasn't
that
made
too.
it 6 weeks.
Yeah, that hasn't been at 6 weeks.
When was the Vegas shooting? That was October, so that's still not.
Yeah,
6
but
weeks.
are you really talking about that?
No, you're right.
No.
You're only bringing it up when it's relevant to the conversation.
Yeah.
Napa fire?
That might be.
California fire?
That might be close. That's about 4 weeks.
Has that been going on for that long?
No, it happened that long ago.
Yeah.
But we'll still say, can we go to Napa yet? No.
That's
the only
you're
reason.
in California.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Local news.
Exactly.
That's more like local news. That's
You're right. I don't think anything's lasted 6 weeks.
Chandra? Nothing? No?
It's got to be like a nuclear warhead for us.
Yeah, it's got to be huge.
And even then, it might only go 4 weeks.
I remember that.
Maybe
The whole country wiped out. Yeah, but that's so last week.
Do you guys remember Hawaii? No.
Well, maybe
What
the-
happened to it?
maybe the fact that Donald Trump is actually president somehow.
That's
Yeah.
still, that's
That's true.
That is very true.
Yeah, that you got me. Everyone still talks about that.
That is
like,
very true.
That's true.
How did that happen?
In fact, the media won't stop talking about it.
Yeah,
that's also an
absolutely correct.
Like,
What is he saying on Twitter today?
quick, give it more free publicity.
He needs to be re-elected in a few years, so let's just keep it coming.
The next one, I don't even know what it means. In April 13th,
What?
the Nangarhar airstrike. Do you know what that is?
No, not yet.
The U.S. drops the GBU-43B, mother of all bombs,
Oh, I
the
know
world's
hearing
largest
this.
non-nuclear weapon at an
Cool.
ISIL base in Afghanistan.
I do remember
Is this
because
the-
it's mother of
what's
all
ISIL?
bombs. ISIL, that's ISIS. That's just another name for
Oh,
ISIS.
I never heard that name for it. Stick with one name. Get your branding right, all right?
Again, everything's political. So one of them's like they want to be called ISIS, but we call them ISIL because that's not what they want to be called. Maybe it's
I've
something
never
like
heard them
that.
called ISIL. Have you?
It was a political thing that faded away a little after.
Is
this,
it
I
like
think.
Freedom Fries?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Like, we'll stick it
Almost
to ya.
exactly like that.
Got him.
It was big news because it's like the closest thing to it.
I do hear the mother of all bombs. I remember hearing
Yeah,
that.
I think this is another thing that seemed like it was a big deal at the time, but just
Yep.
it really wasn't.
But we're like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Okay, so May. So after May, we actually have like a lot, so we're gonna have to like reduce each month. But for some reason, the year started off slow.
Basically,
we just
the
bombed a few
Wikipedia
places.
editors were really lazy in the beginning of the year. They were recovering from that Christmas food. Just
So May 12th, computers around the world are hit by a large-scale ransomware cyber attack, which goes on to affect at least 150 countries.
I don't remember that.
I think I heard of
at
that.
all.
Is that the one that affected big companies like FedEx?
It's the one that was
I
like
don't know anything
DDoS.
about it.
Like I think a lot
It's
of the
just
West.
ransomware.
There was 1 year, or 1 month, 1 day last year when like several large sites were down. But I thought that was just like a large DDoS. I didn't think it was a
I don't know.
ransomware.
There was
I don't remember
some
this at
big
all.
cybersecurity attack that affected a bunch of companies that didn't have their security patches up to date.
So the shooting, just like the shootings are every other week, like the cyber attacks are also like every
Yeah.
other week.
Oh yeah,
It's true.
I love that they call them 0-day attacks, which just means we haven't figured out this is.
We've had 0 days to repair.
But
is
0-day
general.
attacks just sounds
Yeah.
so much cooler.
Yeah,
That is a cool name for
It is. It's fit just for a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, and here it is, our first terrorist attack. May 22nd, a terrorist bombing attack at the, I forget how to say her name,
What?
Ariana Grande concert in Manchester, England, kills 22 people, injures over 500. Holy shit, I did not know that many.
It seems like I would have remembered that, but
I
now that
remember
you
that
say
one
it,
for
I
sure.
remembered it.
Yeah.
But like, if you asked me, what was the singer that they had a terrorist
Yeah, I would
attack this
never
year? I'd
know.
be like, shit, I don't fucking know. Who's
Some
one of them?
teenager singers.
Yeah.
I did not know it was 500 injured, though. Like, 22 people killed is bad, but 500 injuries?
Remind
That's
me
a
not
lot
to
of
go to a
fucking rounds.
concert next year.
How do you categorize like injured? Does it like mean?
You
Like
have to
someone
go to the
stubbed their
hospital.
toe and they're like, oh, we're writing that one off.
Like, running away from a terrorist attack. I don't think they count that. I think they add up all the people in the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can vary a lot, right? Like I lost an arm compared to someone just chipped
Think
down a
I
finger.
pulled a muscle running.
Oh my god. Poor you.
It was horrible.
Dislocate my
The
shoulder.
tragedy.
Well,
That's pretty crazy start for the terrorist attacks, though. 22 people killed. 500 injured. Damn. Like,
I think the biggest was 500 injured, and it was...
That's 522
was it
rounds
60
at
almost
least.
dead?
Unless you're getting like triple.
How'd they do it? Was it a gun?
Yeah, that's definitely a gun. Oh no, it said bombing.
Bombing.
Oh, my bad.
Mm.
Wow. Okay, so
So-
that was a bomb.
That's a little more effective.
All right, June has quite a bit on here, so maybe we're gonna.
Anything that looks
Let's
interesting.
see.
Weather gets warm.
Haven't
People
got-
get
The
out.
big news of the week. Yeah, I remember that last year. Prediction for next year. It'll get warm in June again.
Who thought about that?
A series of cyber attacks using the Petya malware begins, affecting organizations in the Ukraine.
Oh, who cares if it affects the Ukraine?
Exactly,
Oh,
that's what I'm
okay.
saying. None of the June stuff is interesting. The World Health Organization estimates that Yemen has over 200,000 cases of cholera. What's cholera?
Cholera, maybe?
Cholera.
Yeah.
Cholera. Yeah, when you said what's cholera? Still,
Is
I know
that the
I've
one
heard.
Something
Give
you
you
don't want. I'm
diarrhea.
certain of that.
Cholera.
I know you don't want it.
Is this the water you drink?
I think it attacks your intestines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small infection of the small intestines.
Yeah.
The contaminated
bacteria.
water.
Yeah, it makes you basically lose fluids from every orifice of your body and then you die.
Mm.
Maybe, or maybe it
Doesn't sound like a
usually
good time. That's for sure.
Zach, what are your opinions on cholera?
I don't want it. I don't need it. And I'll pass.
I'm actually strongly pro cholera. If this were CNN, they would definitely find a pro cholera guy.
We're talking about like weaponized cholera.
Yeah, there you
Can
go.
we get our cholera guy on the line?
It's like biological warfare. Like, maybe in certain contexts. Not
Yeah. I feel like we're just giving cholera a bad name here. Okay, so let's see. June 18th, Iran's Islamic Revolution Guards Corps fired 6 surface-to-surface mid-range ballistic missiles from domestic bases targeting ISIS forces in the
It's
Syrian...
interesting that's in Wikipedia. They went to ISIL, then they went back to ISIS.
No, it was ISIL before.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying they switched. You said ISIS. Or it's still
No,
ISIL?
it says ISIL.
Okay.
I changed it to ISIS
Okay,
in the
gotcha.
reading.
Okay.
In the Syrian government in response to the terrorist attacks in Tehran earlier this month.
Okay.
So, a lot of missile firings.
Yeah, they go back. They go forward.
They exchange
It's a thing.
exchange the gratitude for
Yeah.
shooting of missiles.
I think that's
Missiles.
why they often say exchange missiles.
American student Otto Warmbier returns home in a coma after spending 17 months in a North Korean prison. And dies a week later.
I did
What
remember
the fuck?
seeing that.
I heard of that.
Because,
That sucks.
yeah.
That's terrible.
I don't know why they returned him.
They must give them the kiss, like the Game of Thrones in the Dune. They kiss the daughter before it goes,
think-
and it dies on a boat.
I wonder if when they returned him, they were like, it's like you borrowed like a tool from a neighbor and you fucked it all up. And you try to be like, this is how it was when you gave it to me. They're like, he was like this. We didn't do this.
Missing an arm in a way. Coming in.
This is how he was when he came. You really
I
honest.
swear.
Oh.
Yes, June.
No labor camp involved whatsoever.
So not much going on in June. Just, some missiles, cholera, your usual.
Stuff.
Your usual month. July 4th, Russia and China urge North Korea to halt its missile and nuclear programs after it successfully tested its first intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Well, here we are in December and we know how well that worked.
Yeah. So that didn't go too well. What's the Treaty of the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons is voted for by 122 out of 193 UN member states.
Okay.
I don't
Does
even-
that affect me?
Nuclear weapons. How could that ever affect
Damn
me?
it, I was building one in my basement and now, according to that UN
Moving
treaty, I gotta
on.
stop.
July 10th, Iraqi civil war, Mosul, is declared...
Mosul.
Mosul?
M-O-S-U-L. I think it's
Mosul.
Mosul. It's like one of the biggest cities in Iraq.
It's declared fully liberated from the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. I don't even know what...
So it was held by ISIS, and then they liberated it.
Suppose that's a good news.
By who? Who liberated it?
I would hope us.
Somebody.
But like, that's just us going, yeah, we liberated them.
No, they went and they took the city from
Pat
people
on the back
that,
for US.
that held it.
We did it. We did it.
They didn't hold a vote and go, you know what, we're free guys. We declare independence from ISIS.
Bye. We're good.
Okay.
We'll need a tease.
So the summer months kind of slow.
Too hot.
Okay. Usually that's when shit happens, though.
Yeah.
Let's see. The first, okay, so it's at least something different here. The first observation of a collision of two neutron stars is hailed as a breakthrough in multi-messenger astronomy when both gravitational and electromagnetic waves from the event are detected. I remember hearing about this. Data from the event provided confirmatory evidence for the R process theory of the origin of heavy elements like gold.
Okay.
It's a bit above my head, but I remember reading about
So
that.
I know that, like, so...
What's the R process? Do you remember?
I don't know what the R process is, but the way we think that all the heavy elements got onto Earth is, like, the stars eventually spun them out, right? So, like, they do the nuclear fission, right, which combines the elements from lighter elements into heavier elements.
Wait, isn't fusion combining and fission splitting them?
That's right. See,
So
I always
fission,
get those
from the
fucking
fission.
confused.
Fusion, because you fuse things together.
So yeah, your fusion. So the lighter
Fission
elements
is-
fuse together, and then at some point somehow they supernova and then
Which is the worst for explosions, fusion or fission? Which one have we done?
I think fusion is the worst.
Yeah.
So we're doing fission bombs.
Is what I
Yeah, we're doing fission bombs because that's
I could
the
be wrong.
better energy wise. As in we definitely do nuclear fission. We split plutonium and
But
uranium.
fusion bomb would be worse.
Fusion, I don't know which would be worse. What would be better for us is fusion because you combine hydrogen and it outputs helium. So who cares about helium, right?
Yeah.
But if you keep putting out these toxic waste, like
it's not like
what's that
one
from
is triggered
uranium
by
gets
another.
put
I think
down
it's a fusion triggers fission.
No,
Maybe
no.
they need a
No.
mini nuclear.
no.
bombs to-
Up to iron, you do fusion. So you take lighter elements, they come together and form heavier elements, and that's
Yeah.
fusion. And then from heavier
Like
elements
uranium.
on, you fission them down to lower elements.
Well, isn't it that if in fusion things still get spewed out, so there's still some sort of
Oh yeah, there's still a
Yeah, there's some kind of
Radioactive.
waste. That's where the...
And that's the point. So, like, in the stars doing it, the heavier elements stay closer to the stars because they're more massive. But the lighter elements we get ejected so far out. That's why Earth is closer to the sun because there's a bunch of heavy elements, right?
That makes
It's got
sense.
the carbon, a bunch of iron.
That's
a bunch
why
of shit.
gaseous planets
Yeah,
would be farther
gaseous
out.
planets are
Ah.
helium, hydrogen, the
That
lighter
makes sense.
elements.
Okay. Felt like I learned something today.
We learned something. But we should have like a little star thing going across, going, the
more
more
you
you know.
Ah, in the same category, a total solar eclipse happened.
I do remember
everyone
this.
remembers
Yeah,
that. That was
I
a huge-
remember this.
Did you go to watch it? That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I
I-
remember a lot of people from the company bought those, like a giant box of Amazon
Yeah.
glasses,
Oh, yeah,
and some
glasses.
people standing in the parking lot.
Yeah, I did not
For a long
plan
time.
on it at all, but when I showed up to work, there were so many people doing it.
Yeah.
I really want to actually go to the whatever it's called, like the band where it goes across.
Oh, where it's like the complete
Totality,
total eclipse. Yeah.
What's that band called? I forget.
I think just the Band of Totality.
Band of Totality. That's probably it.
Yeah.
What
Unless
was it?
there's a fancy like the big
2024, I think it's supposed to happen again. Because like people like after that, I saw Facebook groups like starting.
Oh.
Like, you can join to like come here in 2024 or
Yeah.
something like that.
in Cleveland. I think.
I definitely want to go to Totality next time because I heard it's pretty awesome. Because
The perfect time to drop acid.
great minds think alike, huh? Alright, yeah, that's boring. Something about
Priority.
United Nations, more missiles. August 25th through 30th, Hurricane Harvey strikes the United States, Category 4. I remember this one. Like,
This is
after we
the
had
Texas?
Hurricane Harvey, then another one happens right away. Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
Houston
Okay.
one.
I remember that. Okay.
And then Puerto Rico got totally screwed over by that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we had like 2 in a row. It's like, what do I donate to?
Well, they're Americans, so fuck you other guys.
Wait a second.
Damages reached
They're kind of American,
$198.6 billion, making it the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history.
What is? I should
At least 90 deaths.
What is that?
The most costly natural disaster in U.S. history, with $198.6 billion in damages. 90 deaths.
What I should say is not funny, but it's kind of funny. Is just a few years ago they had a drought in Texas, right? And I remember seeing on Vice News they went and they prayed for rain. Well, they fucking got it. They prayed a little too hard. They should have toned down that praying just a little bit.
So I remember this image very vividly. In the news, they show a cow that's dying on the range, and then a bunch of guys praying, and then the priest with a snake also like praying the God, like, give me the rain.
Yeah, Chloe watched the Vice News with me a couple years ago, and we were like, this is ridiculous. But apparently it works if they got a freaking
Somebody needs to splice that in with Hurricane Harvey afterwards, and then a preacher going, thanks, God.
I wonder how much those costs are going to Puerto Rico, though, because, I mean, Puerto Rico is a U.S.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like...
It is a U.S. territory.
But most Americans don't think of them as Americans, so I bet I know who's getting more donations.
Are wrong, though.
I know.
I'm not saying that. We understand.
I understand, but I know what they're donating towards.
But is Wikipedia representing the average U.S. citizen, though?
Huh?
No, we're talking...
That's just the cost.
This is just the cost.
Oh, okay.
He was saying they got fucked over because Texas also had one, and they probably donated to them.
Yeah, they're going to
over
donate
Puerto
to
Rico.
Texas more than Puerto Rico.
Like, Puerto Rico, we're not donating to those foreigners that aren't actually...
We're talking about the average U.S. citizen. When they
Yes.
hear something happened in Texas and something happened in Puerto Rico, what are they going to donate to? They're going to donate to Texas.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, being on a flooded island sucks a lot more than being flooded on a state where...
Yeah.
Where they just drive over to something else.
I'll just drive out of the way.
Puerto Rico's like, I'll just float and hope I don't die.
With image of a shark swirling around, like,
Okay.
But see, when they show the footage, they see the Puerto Ricans speaking Spanish going, oh shit, oh mierde. And then they see the Texans saying, oh shit, and they go, I know those guys. Let me send them some money.
It's the Americans. Alright, so now we're on to September. September 1st, Vladimir Putin expels 755 diplomats in response to U.S. sanctions.
what was it?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember this at all.
Putin kicked out 750 diplomats because the U.S. sanctioning them.
Well, why? Why do we sanction them?
Why did we sanction them? Oh,
maybe
well, like
there's
we're best
more
buddies
to
with
it.
Russia?
Spies or something? Like, what?
They must have... Probably
Or
because
they
of the,
thought they were spies.
probably because of the ongoing conflict in Syria, right? They're supporting Assad, and we're against Assad, but we're also against ISIS, which is against Assad, which is a weird position. But
Yeah.
Oh my god, those things make my head hurt.
Yeah, the Syrian conflict stuff is whatever.
I don't know.
Alright, so, the Caribbean and U.S. were struck by Hurricane Irma, a Category 5 hurricane that is the strongest hurricane ever recorded in the Atlantic basin outside the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. The storm causes at least 134 deaths and at least 63 billion. More deaths, less damage.
Is it because it's already been damaged?
No, it's a different area.
Oh, okay.
It's because it's poor nations that are getting hit.
I see. So now you're a skyscraper, but it's like mud houses, so it's worse, less.
That's a significant higher death count, though. That's like 44 more deaths.
Yeah.
But
44 more
less than
deaths.
half the damage cost.
According to economists, the prior one was worse. I'm joking, but seriously, they estimate a human life is about 10 mil.
Oh, really?
They can actually extrapolate that based on the risks that you take. So for a little extra pay, for like 1% risk more of dying, you'll take this much more pay. So from that, if you extrapolate, they say people value themselves at about 10 mil.
Does the people in the same area, say like in Texas, and the people in Puerto Rico,
Oh.
estimate the same amount of money or not?
No, so
I
they
haven't
think
looked
so.
that closely into the study. I'm assuming this is U.S. only. I mean, the price differentials
I don't
between
think they're the same.
different countries or different regions would be hugely different.
Yeah.
But about average U.S. estimate of how you estimate your own life is worth is like 10 mil.
I would think like Bill Gates will estimate his life as a lot more important.
Yeah, obviously.
I gotta start thinking like a $12 million person.
I'm at least worth 30.
At least 30. You think Bill Gates thinks of himself as a $10
think of
million
it though.
person?
Well, think of it though. If he dies, his children presumably get everything. I think it's actually charities too. But like the $40 billion doesn't just evaporate into thin air when he dies.
Yeah,
that's true.
So it's not like he would estimate it as $40 billion plus another 10 mil.
Okay. Yeah, the Olympics. I don't think we really care about who's hosting.
No. Does anyone here care about the Olympics?
Actually,
did anyone here watch a single event in one of the most watched worldwide sporting events?
Well, it's kind of interesting.
Did you?
Paris
I
is
watched
going to
Olympics
host
before.
2024.
No, this event. Olympics.
Sorry.
I
What'd you
watched
say?
curling for the winner.
Because you're really into brooming?
It's pretty interesting, though. It's actually fun to watch. I like curling.
I watched skiing in Sochi because it was 40 degrees.
And what?
In Sochi, in the Sochi Olympics in Russia.
Oh,
When they were skiing, it was like they had this freak warm weather of 40 degrees, so they had to add fake snow there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Skiers who
It's a fake Olympics.
were like, skiing their whole lives professionally, or maybe not their whole lives, but skiing for years
Yeah.
professionally. Normally very good at this. And they got in trouble.
Yeah.
They're used to real stuff.
No records were set that day.
Some of them were like, I fell down less than the other people. I felt so bad watching them.
That's hilarious.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So, Paris gets the right in 2024, and LA will get the right in 2028.
The what?
LA gets the right to hold
Olympics.
Right.
So Paris will have it in 2024, so the next Olympics, they'll have it.
Honestly, the
And then LA
committee,
gets it in 2028.
the committee is so corrupted. I almost wish LA don't have it.
Yeah.
I heard it's a big issue, like, when they, like, leave and stuff, because they spend all this fucking money to host the Olympics, and then it just gets abandoned.
Why can't they just have like one island in Greece and just like, nah, you're the host all the Olympic games. Like,
it's kind of a waste
done.
of money. We spend all this money to
Right.
build up all these pools and all this stuff to host the Olympics, and then it's, like, over. And, like, oh, see you again in, like, 100 years. Pretty big waste of money.
Exactly.
Although it's kind of cool that they'll do it in LA.
The traffic.
Then
is
you're the
already
problem
bad.
why they've been on that so much.
They were considering Boston for one of the Olympics, and everyone I knew from Boston was like, no, please don't put it
We don't
here.
want it.
It's too crowded already. The T's gonna suck. The T's the public transit system in Boston. It's already kind of a clusterfuck at times.
They did their Latin I forbid on that one. They vetoed it.
That's right. Like their transit system, like the subway underground is kind of shaped like an asterisk that meets in the middle of the city. So imagine, Olympic traffic
Jesus
trying to
Christ.
join that party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be
that's not
crowded
good.
as it is, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of forgot this happened. So just 2 weeks after Hurricane Irma struck the Caribbean, Hurricane Maria strikes similar areas, making landfall on Dominica at a Category 5 hurricane, and Puerto Rico as a Category 4. Maria causes at least 94 deaths, and damage is estimated at $103 billion. So it's actually the second
They're
best.
the same regions.
Yes, the same exact regions. How fucked is that?
I bet they were like, how could my day get any worse?
The God is like, you bet.
Challenge accepted.
I got you, fam. That's fucked.
That's the perfect example why you should not build large cities around that area.
Yeah.
Strong discouragement.
It's kind of funny, like, all this technology and all the buildings that we can do, it's still just nature.
Yeah,
Just destroys
still,
it.
it's nothing to...
Nature's our biggest, like, oh, fuck, not you again.
Not efficient.
Alright, so now we're into October. Let's see. Oh, shit, here it is. October 1st. I didn't realize it was on the 1st. 58 people are killed and 546 injured by Stephen Paddock, who opens fires in a crowd in Las Vegas, surpassing the 2016 Orlando nightclub shooting as the deadliest mass shooting perpetuated by a lone gunman in U.S. history. Breaking records.
Yeah.
Record breaker.
You go to 4chan and they do
Is
count
that
these
our
things.
prediction? Is that going to be a prediction? A record that record will be beaten?
I
Seems
don't
like
know.
an easy prediction.
Record will be beaten? That's a lot, though.
58 people, like, he did it with guns. Like the last one was a bomb.
No, that's a U.S. record though.
I'm just saying though, but 58 people and 546 killed.
I don't think he's
the amount of rounds he had to empty is outrageous.
You know what's weird is I still haven't heard like a coherent like motive for the guy. Like,
yeah, have you heard
a motive? And like he doesn't fit any types. Like he's older. It's usually young men. They usually have some reason for freaking doing it. Just being crazy could be one, but he
that
doesn't
seems
seem
like
he's
the
nuts.
motive. Like,
but like there's no obvious like the guy that shot up the theater dressed as Batman and like he dyed his hair and he was like fucking out there like crazy like like I think he didn't die, so we know how incoherent he was because he was in court and obviously was making no sense.
Wow. Yeah, I don't. According to police, Paddock acted alone. His motive and cause is unknown.
Yeah.
The ISIS claimed responsibility, but American law enforcement officials have given no evidence for it. So ISIS is like, yeah, we did that. Yeah. That's us.
People fart in an elevator and they're like, we did it!
Was it discomforting for the U.S.?
Take that, you capitalist scum.
Got him.
That you and fiddles.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh. That's so crazy.
Yep.
He was, so, after all this happened, in the trunk of his car, there was 1,600 rounds of ammunition and 50 pounds of an explosive found.
Maybe just like, I went on Black Friday sale and I ordered too much.
How do I get rid of it all? How do I get rid of all this? It was on sale! You know what? I got an idea. That is so dark.
So you're saying Walmart's responsible again? Just like Columbine? No. It's because of your sales! I had to use the ammo.
I bought it. I feel like I need to use it for something.
God, that's so awful.
You gotta use it before it expires.
Buy one, get one free.
Oh, God. Horrible. That's so hilarious. Oh, we're fine. Yep. Aren't you glad you joined in on the podcast? See you there.
Partying hell.
So here's another attack, but it happened in Somalia.
Oh.
Which apparently they're just better at killing in Somalia. Because this is a massive blast caused by a trunk bombing. Kills at least 512 people and injures 316 others.
Mm.
And that gives you the ratio of U.S. deaths to others, because how much of a story was that compared to the
That's
Vegas?
true. That's very true. It's kind of sad.
But maybe if you're actually at Somalia, it was a bigger news. Just saying.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Depends on if you have Twitter to read about it. Let's see. Is there anything else for October? No, there's nothing for October. Oh, here we go. Back on Slider News. November 2nd. A new species of orangutan is identified in Indonesia, becoming the third known species of orangutan, as well as the first great ape to be described for almost a century. That's how, we're still discovering species of
That's
apes.
crazy. Like, apes, they're freaking big. They're not like tiny little bugs.
Yeah, it's not like
you
we
know?
just can't see them.
Like, hey, there's some big monkeys over there. I guess they're apes, but let's go check them out.
Yes, there are definitely apes. That is kind of crazy. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
That is, are we actually going to find more and more species of orangutan?
I wonder
Or
if they
apes?
had all three kinds of orangutans and just one day we're like, oh hey, these are different somehow. Cool.
Oh,
It
yeah.
might actually be what
No, look at that. Their nose goes this way slightly.
Is it us just being racist now?
They're not all the same.
Oh, you can't tell the difference between these species? Whoa, that's going to be loud on there. Look at those species. You got the circle heads, the full circles, the half circles, and the ellipses. The football heads.
I wonder if you take...
Those are the three species, though.
You take one of each and put them in a zoo and they do form, stereotypes of them.
They separate out. They form their own chain gangs.
Yeah, the big circles are thinking, fucking ellipses. They're all lazy.
So, we never talked to those Those are football heads.
Yeah.
I'm wondering
They're
what the
nuts.
new
Well,
one is.
the foreheads are all different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's the first thing.
Hell, if my daughter will marry an ellipse.
The nostrils are shaped differently.
And the
Yeah,
beards are
yeah.
different too.
Yeah, I think football head's the most distinctive one. Like, that was probably.
I think that's
Yeah,
the
those-
most distinctive one.
No, the left two are kind of.
I guess that one's kind of close to that. The football head definitely has that football shape. That's the Hey Arnold.
They should.
orangutan.
I was gonna say they should rename them the Stewie orangutans.
What about
Hey Arnold,
football
yeah, Hey
head?
Arnold is
He
the
was at
same.
least actually called football head.
Maybe the other one is called Brian.
Lots of Syria and Iraq stuff on here.
Alright.
Syrian Civil War.
This is just like Donald Trump, where after a while I stopped paying attention.
Yeah, it's like,
I was just
oh.
like, I don't even care anymore.
It's
I don't
white
even care.
noise. Yeah.
Yeah, filter it out.
Oh, there's really no other news then. Besides a mosque attack in Sinai, Egypt, kills 305 worshippers and leaves hundreds more wounded. They don't even have an actual number for the wounded to count.
So it's one of two things: either last year was more eventful, or the Wikipedia editors got lazier, because we had a lot more.
We had a
last year.
lot on these where we
We
had,
went like for hours.
or maybe significant things didn't happen enough.
Yeah,
Like last year there was more.
that was one of my two.
Yeah. There was just more significant stuff last year. Although it felt like this year was more depressing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because of the year of Trump.
Anything this year that you guys wanted to talk about?
Oh,
That
no, wait,
wasn't
we
in
still
there?
got December.
Okay.
We got
Oh,
one
I thought
more
you said
month
that was the end.
of November.
Oh, fucking misleading me.
The U.S. officially recognizes Jerusalem as a.
Oh, this was a
capital.
big story.
Yeah, that just-
This is a big story that I didn't realize was a big thing until they did it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it wasn't already Jerusalem. It was
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Tel Aviv.
Oh,
I'll
that's-
be like, I was paying that close
I thought
attention.
that was already a thing. Oh, Russia is banned from the 2018 Olympics for doping.
Yeah, I've heard of
State-sponsored
that.
doping. Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's right.
There's a whole.
But they haven't caught us yet.
Got to be better at it. It's just so funny they had a whole state-sponsored doping program.
I'm suspicious if we do the same thing. Or it's not state sponsored,
I
but
bet you
we're not
it's
looking
like,
too closely.
Yeah, we're not. It's not like we're testing our teams.
Hey, if your medical technology is actually superior than what they can examine, it's
Yeah.
technically it's not doping, right?
Olympics aren't really even testing the athletes anymore. They're testing the doctors that give the things to the athletes. Like, can they pass those tests? Yeah, can they dope them up and not get caught?
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty much
It's
what you
really
have to
a
do.
test for doctors or medical
exactly.
researchers.
That's why the UFC has such a good doping program, because the way they do it is
Is
they can test you at any time, and you have to actually report where you're at.
Oh yeah, that was another story. I don't know if it was this year or the previous. Is what's the Balky Williams sister? Is it Venus?
Mm-hmm.
She
Venus, one of them.
yeah, I remember reading that she was randomly selected for a test, and she at least claimed she thought her house was being broken into, and she ran into a panic room and locked herself in.
Oh.
And like people were like, "Yeah, I don't think you thought that was a burglary."
Yeah.
And if you look at the pictures, one of the Williams sisters, and they're twins, right? One is thin,
Yeah.
and one is like
One's
Super
buff,
buff
yeah.
as shit. So it's like,
That's
well,
Yeah, there's like the John Jones, like
Yeah,
his
you knew.
first time he popped, he was like, I took dick pills and there was like bad stuff in it, and that's why I tested positive, because he was like a big cocaine user.
yeah.
So that's the first reason. And then the second time it happened, it's kind of like, well, like maybe you're just using steroids.
Yeah.
after all. It's like you can only get away with it.
Maybe you
sometimes.
should get a better doctor.
Exactly. And that's the fight we saw where you
Yeah, I
tested
remember.
positive for. That was crazy.
Hey, that's not in there. See the news?
Yeah, it's UFC isn't going to be on like international.
But not even the
Wikipedia news.
Irish guy. What's his name?
McGregor.
Yeah,
Oh, that
yeah.
should be on here. Yeah,
That was so huge.
That was like a whole fucking month.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You probably even heard the name Conor McGregor after that, right? Like did you
Conor
hear
McGregor?
Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather boxing match.
If you
No.
did not, your filter is way better than mine.
You're doing good. keep doing whatever you're doing. Oh, she doesn't go on Reddit enough.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Facebook. I took Facebook off my phone.
Oh,
I can't even
Smart choice.
uninstall Facebook off of my phone.
they'll get you.
I tried.
Gauging up way too much memory, and don't have much stuff to do.
That's why I tried to remove Facebook, because like I can just go on like my web browser. So I tried to uninstall, and it's like, I'm sorry, you can't delete Facebook from your phone.
What's the 2001 Space Odyssey? I'm sorry, Dave.
Sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Well, to put my tinfoil hat on, it's been found that Facebook will actually listen to you. Like if you speak out loud, it'll listen to you and start ads based on what you're talking about.
I saw some people on YouTube doing they talked about cat food.
Oh, cat food.
It was it baby food? I thought it's cat food when they don't own cats, and then they found. I get cat food ads.
Let's test this theory here.
We tried that. I can't even remember. I think we tried to give them.
I can't really
complain
too hard. But.
What's something I should talk about on Facebook?
Well, what do you not usually talk about? And then
we're not Jewish. What's like
tampons, Tampax, tampons.
I was gonna
really like Tampax and tampons. I really could use some tampons right about now. Tampax. Tampons?
You mean maxi pads?
Maxi pads. I wish Facebook would show me a tampon ad so I could buy some tampons right about now.
Hey Zach, is that time of the month for you?
We'll see. If I get a tampon ad, I'm gonna my mind's gonna be blown.
I was gonna tell you, Chloe and I tried to do this where we said random shit to our phone, right? The problem is, I think we totally forgot that we did it. So I might have been shown ads, but now it's on a podcast, so when we re-listen, we're
I did it so oddly enough where if it shows up as an ad, I'm like, oh, holy shit.
Are you watching it now? Do you have it up?
No, that's too quick.
If it's that quick, that's outrageous.
I have a couple friends who claimed that it was that quick for them. Like, they were talking about something and then just started seeing ads pop up.
That would be so crazy.
Yeah, so tampons, pads,
tampons, I don't see any maxi pads.
Always pads.
I think they know me already enough where they don't need to...
Do you have a Google Assistant enabled so that they can listen to your voice command?
Yes, I have Google enabled.
Okay.
I think even without it, they can still listen to you.
Yeah, I don't see any tampons yet. I need my tampons, Facebook.
Now he's actually disappointed. They cater to their needs.
Maybe because you're male on Facebook. I mean, unless you're not. I haven't actually looked at your gender on Facebook.
They don't know what I identify as.
Yeah, it's too gendered. Like, they know you're a man. Like, there's no way.
Slim Jims are my favorite snack. I love Slim Jims. Step into a Slim Jim.
Jerky. And beef sticks.
Anything Macho Man, Randy Savage, I love it. He knows it, I love it.
Step into a Slim Jim. That'd be hilarious if a Slim Jim ad popped up.
So you guys haven't seen those since the 90s?
Yeah. Exactly.
I think you...
No, they already know me. Like, I get board game ads and Magic the Gathering ads.
Yeah.
You can try just force close your Facebook app and reopen it again to see if it's...
for it to, refresh and...
Yeah, force refresh.
What if I get a tampon Slim Jim? The old combo if you buy them together.
On your period, enjoy it with a Slim Jim.
You're like your yeast infection.
Oh, God. Oh, come on, where's the ad?
No ad?
Suggested app. Choices, stories you play. What?
Oh my God, it's a dating app.
What is it?
Oh no, I'm talking about tampons and they gave me a dating app.
Ooh.
It's true.
What?
Be gentle.
Do you like it gentle or rough? Jesus.
And it's a gay app, apparently.
Well, do you like it gentle or rough?
What the hell?
Oh, ooh.
Why is this happening? I'm so weirded out now.
Facebook thinks you are gay.
Apparently, if I'm a guy and they ask for tampons, I become gay.
Clear logic there.
Next thing you know,
that's not an ad. That's actually a thing I follow. Men's humor. Okay, we got one more ad. Let's see. This is my favorite GIF. That's how I feel at work.
Oh, yeah.
I love that GIF. Let's see. Oh, UFC. No, that's because I subscribed to them. Suggested video. Hunt a killer.
What?
Were they listening?
They were listening to our serial killer talk.
Oh, okay.
Fastest growing subscription box on the planet. What?
So you guys didn't hear this earlier, but we were talking about serial killers, and I got a serial killer app.
No, we were talking. We accused you of being serial killer.
Yeah, but were we talking about serial killing?
Yeah, we were all talking.
And now we got a serial killer.
Yes.
So you got some tampon ads to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say, if in like a couple hours I get tampon ads, it's gonna be really weird.
Stop listening to me.
I think there's a couple more stories here. This is really important because eventually they will own us.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the trivia question earlier. What did 20th Century buy?
Okay. Yeah, Fox.
Fox Films.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Disney now acquired 21st Century Fox for $66 billion. Damn. Like, what happens when Disney just owns, like, most of our franchises? Like,
most of the, actual films.
yeah, like, they're just making every movie.
I want to...
Netflix will be their biggest competitor.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of true, because they're starting their own streaming site like Netflix.
Yeah, they are.
need to.
There's
They
the only
need to
one
buy
that's
that
going to be
stuff
able
up.
to compete.
Yeah, it's going to be, do I subscribe to Disney or Netflix or both?
Oh, is that why Disney flicks are being taken off Netflix?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's exactly
That's
why.
exactly why they're going away.
I think my favorite meme from that story was, so now Dr. Frankfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show is officially a Disney princess.
Oh, I want to see some crossovers.
I saw
want
that
to see
for,
them in like a sequel to Beauty and the Beast or something.
I saw that for they own the Alien movie, so now like the alien from Alien was the Queen Alien, so that's a official princess as well.
And the prettiest of them all.
What does that make Ripley though?
It's a good question.
Is she actually the Disney princess? And then like the aliens, like the evil queen.
Yeah, she's the evil queen. No, she would be. Well, that's a good question. You're thinking your good thoughts. I don't know. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else interesting. So yeah, according to this, it was like a dry year, really. Just some missile attacks and terrorism. Nothing too much. It just seemed like all those things that happened all at like once. It seemed like within like 3 months there was like all these hurricanes, all these terrorist attacks.
I thought it felt like a busy year.
Yeah,
but
it's because you're bombarded by the news when it does happen.
Yeah, it's just the news has like gotten so much more in your face.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
Like it's sensationalist.
Let's just put it this way: our 2016 podcast was like 2 hours long when trying to get through it all. This was an hour, and like we went through most of the things there.
I feel like they're missing some events though. Like,
they have to.
Yeah.
There's definitely the Democratic Party. Some members filed official files of impeachment against Donald Trump.
Yeah, there's that. There's the whole like
that's
DNC stuff.
I mean, nothing came of it because like all of Congress is Republican now, but
yeah, that's not going to go anywhere if they get to vote. But were there any other? Is there any other sex scandals? I feel like there was definitely a sex scandal.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein.
Oh yeah, there's so many sex
Where's
scandals.
all the sex
That was
scandals?
like all of December and November.
yeah, there's a load of sex scandals.
A load.
Yeah.
Woo, that's a good one. Good one, Chandra.
There was Louis C.K.
Well,
we even
have
have a
a sex
podcast
scandals.
about that one.
We did a whole podcast, and our prediction was it'll be 3 more by the end of the year. And like a week after that, we heard 3 more.
Yeah.
Like, well, that prediction's pretty much done.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what happened. We're like, oh man, there's definitely going to be at least 3 by the end of the year.
There's
And then it's like boom, 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 boom. Okay, there's a lot more than 3. Like everybody's raping everybody out here.
Like Hollywood, stop it.
Yeah, right.
I'm about to accuse my boss just so I don't feel like that way. I just
Just for fun.
he's a little grabby. I don't. He's not even gay,
He's
but
a little crabby. He gets a little too close. We did have that English teacher that was a little weird.
I've heard women complain about him, but like since I was a man, it was just that's what I heard. Like he stared at them or something.
I thought I heard guys complain about him, but also our science teacher would he would put the leg, he would walk up to girls and put the leg on like the desk like this and do like this.
Which science teacher was that? I don't
I
know.
forget his name.
Which one was he? Can you describe him?
He's a chemistry teacher.
Oh,
The
okay, I
only
know who he
chemistry
is.
teacher. And I remember one time in the hallway, I was walking with him. I was like, "Hey, I got a science joke for you." It's like, "What?" I was like, "I think it's the what is it? 2 electrons." It's been a while.
Oh, the I'm positive.
Yeah, the
thing
I'm
that-
positive joke. Like somebody lost an electron. I'm positive. Are you sure I'm positive? You got a kick out of that. I was like, But yeah, I remember people complaining about that. So October 5th, it all starts with Harvey Weinstein, right? Like that was that was the start. That was October 5th.
Patient zero.
October 10th, Ben Affleck. I didn't even hear about that.
Oh, I heard. Yeah, like
Really?
5 days later.
he just grabbed an ass during a picture, maybe. It wasn't as big of a story.
Considering the track record in Hollywood. But.
Yeah.
Well, he's good looking enough.
Yeah, that's what, like, I think it died as a story. Is like.
Then 2 days later, Roy Price, Amazon executive.
I didn't hear that one.
No,
I remember that.
one.
Wait, no, I don't. Sorry.
He resigned. Well, he resigned from Amazon days after it. So.
Oh.
There was a big Netflix one, I remember.
Chris Savino, Nickelodeon producer.
I remember there's an Airbnb one, but that was like a long time ago.
The point is, it's bad enough to where we have a fucking list when I Google it.
Crazy.
I feel like maybe it's not especially bad this year, but more that people are actually paying attention to
Yeah, it's not that it's bad this year.
Oh, well, that's just the way they are. That's just how Hollywood is. Like,
Almost-
no, that's actually not cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, like almost none of these happened this year specifically. It's like,
Well, yeah,
oh, yeah.
most of
By
them
the way,
happened
Harvey
a while
Weinstein has
ago,
been
and
raping
now
people
it's
for the past 30 years. Oh, really?
But now we've decided that's not okay. Like,
That's
that took a while.
It really took a while for us to like say,
30
you know what?
years, eh?
Maybe we shouldn't be raping people.
like, wait, that's not okay? Well, shit.
I know that.
Huh. Here, I thought this whole time.
It always reminds me, like, in corporate training, they usually have these, like, little
The
things.
sexual harassment.
I remember when I first started at Accenture, I got one that was sexual harassment. It was like, did you know you can't exchange promotions for sex favors? It's like, fucking yeah! You didn't even tell me that! I don't need training! Jesus Christ!
I think the favorite thing to worry about is, wait, people need to be told that?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, am I really watching a video about this? Like, did somebody need to be told this out loud?
Who here didn't know this already?
Yeah, exactly.
I got corporate training say like, do not take more than $20 as a gift.
That's pretty vanilla, though.
$20
I know.
is a gift from, like, another...
External.
Yeah, like from another
Sort of
company.
client, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're taking a
Is
black,
that just like
would
standard?
it be like a little more than $20?
Like they open a
I'm
suitcase
saying.
of millions and shove it towards you, and you're like, I see nothing wrong with this.
No, I think 20
I'll tell you what, I'll suck a
$25
dick for $20 million.
Yeah.
Or at least in Parks and Rec, wasn't it like $20 or $25?
Yeah, something like that.
That's how it was when I worked at Catalyst with clients. You couldn't accept any gifts $25 or more.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey, so what's the standard price of a blowjob?
Why are you looking at me? Like,
I thought you might know.
$20.
last time I went to all my hookers,
Depends on where you're asking.
Nerdy was the going rate.
Yeah. No, ours was don't take bribes or like have sex with your clients. It's like okay.
Tough rules to follow.
Damn it, they caught that loophole I was trying to go for, where it's like, I think
I was
it's about,
supposed
about
to earn
$20.
extra income.
And they're trying to give everyone in the company, like, I don't even have the power to meeting the external client. And I'm like, I'm just staying my cubicle all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't give us training. They just gave us a handbook. Well, they may have given us training too, but like all the juicy stuff is in the handbook. Like, by the way, don't like say anything bad about the company on social media, or if we lay you off, you won't get unemployment.
Oh,
It's like, oh well.
by the way, what company do you work for, and why do they suck? While we're recording this.
Nah, they don't suck, and I'm just gonna keep that one.
Wise decision.
Generic tech company.
Generic tech company. Initech.
Initech, that's right.
Also, Kevin Spacey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was
He's
a
gay.
big one.
I know.
So that's okay.
Oh, I never know about that.
That's the big news. Not that he sexually harassed anybody.
Yes.
Didn't he sexually harass him after that, though?
After? Really? I didn't hear that. Maybe.
Did he really?
I thought I heard something where he did, but maybe
I thought it was
not
like
used to
more came out. Like
He's
before, it started as one person, then it was like 5 more, and then 20, and then it's like, all right, Hollywood, who did Kevin Spacey not like harass?
Who was it he doing? I like this one, Andy Dick. Like,
Maybe
he
we
was
didn't
already
see that
famous for
coming.
doing that.
Like, yeah, he was already kind of creepy.
Yeah, he was already famous for being a creepy weirdo. sexual harasser. That's kind of like half his comedy was sexually harassing people.
The news should have been he has not sexually harassed anybody.
Yeah, right?
He's such a very nice guy.
Dustin Hoffman. I didn't hear that one.
Oh, I did hear that one, yeah.
What do you look
It's from like 20 years ago, the accuser, though.
Wow.
Oh, we don't have photos up there.
Yeah.
There's no photos.
Okay.
You don't know who he is?
No, not really.
He's Rain Man. And he,
Definitely Rain Man. He's definitely Rain
Nothing nothing you would have seen because it's not recent. He's an old actor.
Man. Admin creator, Matthew Weiner. His last name's Weiner. We got another Weiner scandal in our hands.
Well, in the Mad Men, it's particularly very standard practice, right?
Roy Moore.
Nah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
After seeing what a looker he is, you think, why did he harass women?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. He doesn't.
And of course, our favorite, Louis C.K.
Oh, yeah.
The whole podcast.
Yeah.
I like our question from that podcast was, what did he do after, like, he finished? Did he finish number one?
But yeah, that's, the first question is, did he finish?
Yeah.
Where did he finish? And then what do you do after you finish?
Yeah. Because, you know, he
Very
masturbated in front of women. So it's like, first of all, that's awkward. Then you got it. And then what do you do with it? Like,
you just like come right on the ground and just look at it and go, I guess I'm done now. What do you do? Come on their desk and be like, I'll get a maid to clean that up. Like, I want details. I want to know what happened. Because it's so weird. That situation's already awkward enough, like, to think of all the details. Like,
That's just cringy.
How do you navigate that situation?
Not sure.
And that's the girl. What the fuck do you do? Well, I guess this is happening now. Matt Lauer.
Oh, yeah.
Who he?
Our prediction was 3. We have a... I'm skipping a lot.
Know.
I'm skipping. I am skipping because there's so many.
He's like a morning... He's like a talk show host, reporter guy. I think he hosted the Olympics, too.
Maybe the whole hashtag Me Too was did some good justice, because that's probably kind of like what happened after this. The whole Me Too thing.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah, it did kind of all come after that, so maybe it actually did some good. Oh, President Trump.
Yeah.
Like we didn't already know that.
What a twist.
What? Our president? No.
That moral paragon?
That moral paragon.
Well, he would never.
The pillar of our society. Morality. Oh shit, Morgan Spurlock? Isn't he the...
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw...
Supersize Me guy?
Yeah, I saw on Reddit afterwards, they were at least accusing him of, because he's no longer relevant, he wants to be relevant again. Because he outed himself. He said, I did it.
Really?
It's like,
wow.
Well, who?
You gotta be having a shit fame life if you're like, want to join the sexual harassment bandwagon. I raped women too! That's fucked up. That's pretty much where the line ends, because it ends on December 18th. So, hey, we still have 4 days to hear some more. But that's seriously, like, you saw that timeline. I skipped at least like half of the names. Outrageous.
Alright, so predictions next year. Who's it going to come out has been sexually harassing somebody?
Oh, that's a good question. I like that. It's not going to be anybody hot. Like, you're not going to hear, like...
Yeah, George Clooney is a real
George
rapist.
Clooney was sexually harassing me. Damn it, Brad Pitt, why'd you sexually harass me? You're not going to hear that.
I think it's going to be some...
You have to have that kind of creepy
come up
vibe.
and say, like, some, like, female harassment.
You think of
female harassment?
Yeah.
Any particular names?
I think that's true.
I don't know, but sometimes I saw on the Reddit there's like a
she's the one that would have to do it because she's not picking up anyone else.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like Jessica Alba doesn't have to sexually harass anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the girl in Ellen's girlfriend? She's in the show.
Portia de Rossi?
Yeah, see, she doesn't have to try. She can pick up women.
Yeah, she doesn't have to sexually harass them.
Yeah, but I feel like it must exist. Or
I'm sure it does.
Or women sexually harass women. You know, like they're not out as a gay or something.
So what would I feel like a guy? You have to have a guy that's like, or a girl willing to, or a guy willing to say they were sexually harassed too. Like,
I think it's a
level.
trend now.
Yeah.
Like, because it used to be laughed at, like men.
And I also
bullied.
think, I was about to say, I also think it will be laughed at in the media.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
It was like that.
I think it
You
will
don't
be.
think they'll dismiss it?
I think it will be.
It might
Yeah, I
be.
don't think the media is caught up.
Yeah, I think it will be laughed at more.
And be like, oh wait, men can actually be sexually harassed.
They'll be like, you can't be sexually harassed.
No.
That's a good question. What female would be the sexual harasser?
Gotta be like a high-powered producer. But...
That's a good. That just we won't know their names because they're high-powered producers, not actual actresses.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good guess.
That is a very good point.
It'll just be some name like, who the hell is this? Harvey Weinstein? Wait, he was doing what now?
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely going to be that.
Yeah.
So what guy will be a sexual harasser? What guy?
My guess, Carrot Top. And he'll have some overly elaborate gadget to harass somebody.
Too easy. too easy.
I think might be some drugs involved.
Drugs? You think like another Bill Cosby
situation? Like,
Yeah. Like a
Bill Cosby
plus,
guy.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
Drug, like in the drinks.
Yeah.
Like, here, take this. I'm trustworthy. You've seen me on
Just
TV.
some stories that I read on the Reddit
Mm.
where someone like, you look at it from the bartender's perspective. It's like this young man walking to the bar, and then this really old lady starts kissing him, and then they went out together. And I'm not saying anything, but it definitely looks weird.
Yeah, that's true.
What about show hosts that... Or I feel really
Drew Carey.
Drew Carey?
Oh...
I can see that one.
Yeah, he's not a looker. He could.
He's not a looker. He just has a creepy vibe.
He could be Drew Carey.
I think, what other show hosts work... Like, I'm thinking of Bill Cosby, but, like, what other show hosts work a lot with children? Because generally, like...
God, that's so creepy.
Yeah, there's people that they want to work with children because they want to be creepy at them.
The whole Wiggles party. All of them.
The Wiggles
Every
party.
Wiggles.
I don't know what
I
that
don't know
is.
about you, but, like, when I was a kid, I was watching some of these shows, and I'm like, who the hell is this adult? I don't feel
That's-
safe watching
That's
this.
true. Like, what adult thinks, I know, I want to work with a bunch of children, like male adults.
Whatever
They're
happened
usually
to that
weird
show on
guys.
Nieces and
I mean,
Nephew
there are
watched,
definitely some adults who, like, very innocently are like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
kids, working with them.
But
Like,
you're always suspect of them,
Like
and
Mr.
everyone
Rogers,
knows
you
that,
never
so maybe
suspected
it's...
him. You were like, that...
Rogers.
that-
He wasn't
that's a
actually
rapist
around
program.
children, though.
Yeah.
Like,
But he was a children's program person, so like that's true. He wasn't around children, so you never thought that.
There's also like
He
those
was
people
pretty
who
cool,
wear those like Muppet suits, you know, and then like in those kids TV shows.
Those are the worst.
You
In the
don't see
future.
their real face,
So
but
unsettling.
Soon,
yeah.
one of the people operating the Muppets, a Muppet's gonna come out and say, they had their hand up my ass.
Oh, that's so
The perverts!
With the frogs, just like a black drop of him, just like crying.
He's violating me right now.
Hashtag me too.
Hashtag please make him stop.
He's doing it again. Oh god.
that's terrible.
So what other predictions do we have for 2018?
Non-sexually harassment related.
Do we think the record's going to be beat for Vegas shooting?
It's a tough record.
That's
I don't know.
That's a hard record to beat.
I have to,
Are we challenging that?
Yeah, I'm talking like it's the
In the
40-yard
US
dash.
or outside of the US? Because outside of the
Yes.
US,
US.
Yeah.
We're like the
Outside
rest
US
of
already
America.
beat.
We discount the rest.
Yeah, Canada don't count. South America, what's that?
Huh?
Point to that one.
You're making up words over here.
What's in Mexico?
There's only one America.
Puerto Rico? What the hell is Puerto Rico?
Speak American.
Speak American.
That I learned
That's a
yesterday.
great line. Speak American.
Oh man.
I don't think it'll be beaten. That is a huge murder spree.
It's usually like a few years at least. Like, what was the other?
Before that, what was the other one?
lot.
It was the Virginia
2016.
Tech guy, right? Was that the big shooter before?
I don't know. Last time we did this, we looked at the charts.
He is the Virginia Tech guy.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think at some point like a gun wouldn't do enough. You have
Well, you have bombs.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, what's the criteria? Like, did that really beat September 11th? But we now classify that differently.
It
than-
said lone
Lone, so he's not lone.
Yes.
So we're lone.
September
gunman.
11th wasn't lone.
So gunman too, isn't it? It has to be done with a gun.
No, it just
Yeah,
said lone
gunman means
person.
a gun.
I think it did say lone gunman. So yeah,
Okay.
we'll say lone gunman.
Lone gunman. Nah, it takes a lot of training and a lot of
Yeah.
forethought to
Yeah.
shoot that many people.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You have
So
to
I don't think it's
change
gonna be.
the cartridge. It takes
Yeah.
time, and people can run.
So we wouldn't count a bombing. No?
So that's why I said it depends on exactly the question.
Yeah, if you put the bomb
Bombing could
in,
beat that
like,
pretty easily.
Largest
New
single
York Times
person
Square.
terrorist attack.
Single, like, so then the Boston bombers wouldn't count because there's two of them.
Right.
The marathon bombers.
Yeah.
That wasn't
they weren't lone.
very large.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that excludes a lot of
Oh, okay.
happenings, right? A lot of
Yeah. That the record said lone.
Okay,
It said
lone.
the record said
You got divided by the number of terrorists.
You average out their kill rate?
They kill per person.
It's like KDS.
We have this algorithm. What about the, like Oklahoma City bomber? Like I know that
Yeah,
was
he would-
He didn't
Yeah.
kill. Yeah, I don't think he killed.
I don't think so. He did a lot of damage.
Yeah, he just mostly destroyed them.
After the algorithm, we can have yearly awards. Congratulations. You are this year's terrorist.
We're gonna start the Guinness Book of World Records.
Visit
for
them in
terrorism.
jail or I don't know in Guantanamo.
Oh shit! No, he killed 168 people.
Whoa,
Yeah.
he that was more.
So it was bombing. So this was
Yeah.
lone.
So he
gunman
would be
record.
excluded.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, so they actually do have categories.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lone bomber, lone gunman.
If you
Jesus.
build the bomb really well, like you get the official trainings from somewhere, so you should do more than just a gun.
Yeah.
Right. This,
Yeah.
the blast destroyed or damaged 324 other buildings within a 16-block radius.
Jeez.
That's outrageous.
I remember last year there was a chemistry plant explosion happening in China, kills lots of people.
That didn't make Wikipedia.
Because it's not the U.S.
Oh, sorry, the year
not
before
us.
last year. It was
Uh-huh.
2 years ago. But anyway, it's not intentionally. Like, what is safety regulations? We don't know about them. And then, guess what's gonna happen? The chemistry plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Your preschool kindergarten story in China didn't make the news.
Oh, that's my next prediction. We'll have another Pizzagate-esque scandal.
Like there's
It's
a
actually
trial
linked to
for-
Pizzagate because that blew my fucking mind when you said that. Did you hear
Surprise.
about this whole thing?
So what was Pizzagate?
Well, we don't actually have any Pizzagate hard evidence.
Gotta get that tinfoil hat.
Put it on.
You're gonna need it for this
I'll
ride.
let you explain Pizzagate.
Oh,
I don't even
how
know
do
where
I
to
even-
begin. You watch more
Let's do
Joe
it.
Rogan.
In essence, the whole thing is that the
Make it
Clinton
like she's out.
Foundation, along with a lot of other politicians, are actually running a pedophilia ring.
Okay. I mean that.
That's in essence the whole.
That's the
story.
accusation.
There's complete accusation, but they actually had like this pizza parlor that
You frequented, maybe?
yeah, they frequented it. There was reports that they had a dungeon there, and their symbols that they used were actually used were like listed on the FBI website as pedophilia symbolism. And so they had those symbols in the pizza shop, and that's how it got determined the Pizzagate scandal.
And then people on the internet started pouring through those DNC leaked emails and coming up with, these are the code words.
But there were weird emails
Yeah,
that were
there
like,
were
how do you
weird
describe
emails.
this email without code words? It was definitely coded. Whether or not it had to do with pedophilia, you don't know. But it was.
Yeah.
This
a lot of
email
their
was coded.
evidence was definitely a stretch.
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing about this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some
There's
guy
a
went into the
restaurant as
pizza.
part of this
Yes,
conspiracy.
exactly.
It's like, wait, what?
But so Chloe now needs to describe what we talked about a couple
Yeah.
podcasts ago, where it blew my mind because I was kind of like, yeah, Pizzagate.
Pizzagate
okay, I
was
get it.
during the election last year. And then Chloe, there's a story in China ongoing.
So-
a couple weeks
Well,
ongoing.
kind of died down because there's active censorship going on. So what really happened, in a short sentence, is that there was a kindergarten in Beijing. Basically, has been proven that they have child abuses, and also unproven because the camera just mysteriously broken that there has been sexual molestation of child with a higher up.
But these children had like marks on them where they're getting shots and stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
that was found. Yeah.
And then there was also white pills, and then there's like uncle doctors and grandpa doctors, and then doing some unsavory things to children. which is memorized by the children.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing is that kindergarten has been going. They have been IPO'd in the New York Stock Exchange, and then one of the board members is ex-Clinton Foundation member.
So that's
And
where,
among
like,
all-
that
That's where the
interesting.
Pizzagate kind of connected to.
Across all the board members, there's one only like a non-Chinese person, and that was an ex-Clinton Foundation member.
That could also be a DNC scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
with how much
That's kind of
like
what-
Exactly.
Clinton's.
It wasn't
And it's
just Clinton,
like-
it was like a lot of politicians that were involved in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like big companies listed on the New York Stock Exchange, almost all of them will have at least one U.S. guy that's involved in politics in some way.
Yeah,
Because I mean, obviously that's a great thing to have on your board.
yeah. But you choose that person.
The other weird thing about the Pizzagate scandal is the owner of it posted like all these really weird pictures on social media where it was like people like children all like somewhat naked around like weird objects and stuff. Yeah, it was like stuff I would not ever be comfortable with hanging around like basically in my house or anywhere.
Or even looking at it.
Yeah, even looking at it was disturbing enough. Let me
Yeah, I don't know.
bring it up and you'll pretty much.
And then we can look at it too. I don't know.
And we'll be part of the conspiracy now. They'll accuse us.
So the interesting part to me is the mysterious camera just mysteriously stopped working when this was happening. 'Cause
Exactly.
it
That's
sounds
always a
lot
giveaway.
Like, Vladimir Putin's, running opposition during the last elections mysteriously died when a van
Yeah.
passed in front of
That always happens.
That was the guy
in front of
pedestrian.
the camera.
There you go.
Whoa.
There's creepy. Is that not creepy enough for you?
That's one of his artworks.
So this artwork from this Pizzagate scandal has a bunch of girls lined up on a wall on their knees with their hands covering up their butts, which they only have their underwear on and a shirt, and they're all turned to looking.
And they're all young girls.
I would never, ever hang this anywhere, nor own this piece of artwork, quite frankly.
Creepy.
Wait, and who did
The
that?
owner of the pizza parlor did this artwork. Like, he had this artwork.
Maybe
He's
that's
in the
a rendition.
DHE emails, Tony.
Yeah,
stuff.
he's listed in the DNC emails a lot. Like, they actually talked with this pizza parlor owner.
Oh, show the weird fish email. that he sent. There was some weird one. I
The
don't
Tony
know what it was.
Podesta email. What was it? Finger or fish?
Fish.
You know, one thing I have to say that the
Alright.
U.S. still haven't censored everything.
That was the guy, and that was
That
one
was the
picture
guy that was emailing
yeah,
a lot of these
without
things.
context found in the DNC.
That was just an
leaks.
email they sent.
And
what-
people have
what's
so
that
many
mean?
theories about what that means. Somebody said it was like a Christian thing. Somebody says a fish. I forget what all the theories
Number
are.
14.
It's very weird.
I think no matter what, rich people are into some weird shit that we are not into.
I mean, if you have that much money and you're like, I'm bored with life, maybe I'll do some occult shit.
I don't. You say it jokingly, but I kind of believe they would probably do
That's
some
what I
weird
think,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we get the Illuminati.
Yeah.
So, like, when rich people have enough money, like they can't hang around normal people, so they start hanging around rich people. What do? It's like a rat race. Remember where they just started betting on
betting
weird
on
shit because
crazy
we just
stuff.
have all this money, so why not just bet on everything we possibly can?
Have you ever seen it? I don't think you had, right?
No.
Like, one of the things was he got this hooker, and so the guy goes and asks, how much would it cost if we get naked, and then we get into a tub full of Pepto-Bismol, and you clip my toenails while I, like, rub my head? And then she gave a price for it, and then all of a sudden those guys came out like, I had $200, I had $300.
They're all betting on how
yeah,
much
they were
you
betting
would
on how
say.
much she would quote the price.
It's the whole thing of when you're that rich and have that much money, you just come up with
Yeah.
weird shit to
It's
waste
like,
your money.
what are
on.
you gonna do to entertain yourself?
I can see that.
Mm?
Yes, at least this is harmless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part's harmless, but like the cult stuff, who fucking knows where that goes?
Yeah. You don't know.
What would your price be for Pepto-Bismol? Clip my toenails and not rub my head.
That is so weird.
The equivalent of the U.S. national debt.
How about there?
Just get it out and I'll be happy.
Really? For clipping your toenails on Pepto-Bismol?
I'd do it for half that.
A couple $1,000.
Not the national debt.
Yeah,
It's not even anything sexual with that. It's just weird. I could do that for a couple $1,000 easy.
I don't know. I feel like it's weird enough that I'd, be up at night just thinking about, like, God, that was weird.
Can't sleep at night anymore. Dreams of that, yeah.
You just can't even stand the color pink anymore.
Sometimes I feel like if we actually randomly interviewed one of those call girls and asking her, like, what's her weird story is, we'll have, like, lots of writing materials.
Yeah. That's Ask Reddit. I've seen that before, like...
Do you trust those things? I just feel like everyone just goes on there and writes whatever crap they come up with.
Yeah, it could be easy, but some of them are funny either way.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's after that whole long-winded thing. My prediction was there will be another pizza game.
I forgot what we were talking about.
Pizza game.
So what was you had a prediction, right? What was your prediction? Another sex scandal. I guess that was kind of everybody's prediction.
Anything else?
Well, Chloe said a female will get accused of sexual harassment. So what is your prediction?
My prediction is North Korea will escalate more, but nothing will ultimately come of it.
That's just a cop-out. That's happening already.
It's like Donald Trump will say something else stupid on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, that's a great prediction.
What? What? Whoa. Make the prediction he'll say something intelligent on Twitter.
That's a bold prediction.
I'll do it. Donald Trump will actually say something relatively intelligent on Twitter. Makes everyone say, okay.
Like, maybe he's not.
But it won't make the news. He'll say something rather insightful.
Don't make me look at Donald Trump's Twitter ever again. There was something that he came out with a while ago that actually... By a while, I mean like a few
Do you
days
follow
ago.
him on Twitter? Do you even use Twitter?
No.
I do follow him.
No one knows.
It is entertaining, I'm not gonna lie.
For the brief amount of time I was on Twitter, I followed the Iron Sheik.
The wrestler?
Yes.
Yeah, he's
The
in
wrestler.
all caps. It's pretty great.
He always talks in... I'm not gonna lie, like...
I don't have Twitter, I don't want to sign up.
It's
follow
so
Iron
odd.
Sheik now.
Refreshing.
I mean, you can always see Twitter without having an account, just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up Iron Sheik Twitter.
Yeah, that's true.
But I need to know what he's thinking right now.
But it's really weird
That
to
Iron
refresh your Twitter and see just the president tweeting random shit. It is
Yeah.
really weird. Every time I see it, I'm like, that's a goddamn president.
But do you think back in like the 40s, they're like, the president, or 50s, he's going on TV now?
That's true.
How debasing.
But
of
it's
the
not like
office.
he was talking weird shit like
Yeah.
Donald Trump was.
He doesn't go on
You gotta grab him by the
man.
pussy! That would have really derailed a career on TV.
Or also, surprise, I've just decided Jerusalem is
Yeah.
the capital.
Thought I'd move it there.
Like
No, the real surprise would be he's like,
Nah.
I thought Moscow should be the capital we'll recognize. We'll put the Israeli
Just really fucking
yeah,
random.
thing in there.
Moscow like Russian.
Yes.
Yeah, and then that's where we'll move the thing. Like,
Definitely no ties to Russia, though.
well, I didn't
Wait,
see that
Puerto
one.
Rico is part of the United States?
No, what you should do is say, I've decided that Moscow is, or like some random
Yeah,
city, like some random city is like now the capital of Russia.
Johannesburg. We've decided to move that there.
Right.
Oh, by the way, for our segment of Read That Bill, we're definitely not doing the tax cut. I went to look it up. It's like 1,000 and some pages. I'm like, fuck that. And I
Yeah,
tried
I know.
reading like 2 pages of it.
Like confused after the 3
I have
sentences.
no idea what this is even saying. Like, how do senators actually read this? Oh, they don't. That's right.
You know why? It's all actually code for Pizzagate and sex throughout the whole thing.
What we eating today? How fucked up would that be if there's like random codes in there? Alright, so that's 2017 year in review. What's everybody's overall view of 2017?
Everyone seemed to hate it.
I'm not a big fan.
Because,
Every piece of news was depressing.
yeah.
Well, except for the new species of orangutan.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's
I am
interesting.
pro orangutan, sir.
And SpaceX news was all good.
Oh, yeah.
There was another.
If you're following science, good year.
There was another cool science article that came out about something that was discovered. I think.
Oh, the interstellar
Yes.
object? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
That was pretty cool.
So,
about
they just now have a telescope able to see at higher resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
So they found an object that has definitely traveled from one other solar system to ours.
Oh.
And it's this
How
really...
can they tell that? How can they tell that's a different?
Oh, based on the velocity and its direction. So if it hadn't been the
couldn't it just
trajectory
been shot out of an orbit or something?
Well, if the trajectory hasn't changed in a given amount of time, you could tell just rewinding it, the velocity that it would have come in from here, right?
And what is it? Just a random object?
Yeah, it's this long cylindrical thing. So that's like. And no one has any idea why that thing. How did a giant freaking dildo? They have an artist rendering. It kind of looks like a dildo.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Was it the Lex? Anyone who hasn't seen the Lex, look it up right now.
I have not.
What? Oh, the Lex. All right, so it's this crazy Canadian sci-fi show has lots of like dick references. That they fly
got me sold.
It's an organic spaceship, so it eats planets and stuff, and it looks like a giant flying dick.
That's at least an interesting concept.
I like the sci-fi shows that do a living ship.
A living ship?
Yeah, there's another show that did that. Because since it had like its own intelligence, sometimes Farscape, they would like take them to like certain areas because it had its own intelligence. It was pretty cool. Yeah, Farscape is an awesome show. Also look up Farscape.
Actually, look up
much dick references.
Actually, look up Farscape before you look up Lex. Farscape is what we call quality.
Yes.
So this is the low budget variety.
Lex is more. It's late at night. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm gonna watch some fucking Lex.
I'm going to now. I mean, he had me sold on dick references the whole time. Did you ever see that tribe, that like old tribe in Africa, where like all their statues and everything is like dick references, like little dicks?
No, I haven't
It's like it's just like a tribe of dicks.
Are you bringing that up? Are you looking up Dick Tribe? Or are you googling Dick Tribe? You already googling Dick Tribe.
It's one of the Asian
you put
culture
that
that
past
they're worshiping genitalia.
What? Did they have a LinkedIn profile for Dick Tribe?
They're looking for jerks.
Well, hell, I was looking for someone with that kind of
This is just a
qualification.
tribe with showing their dicks. I want the ones with dicks.
Request them to add them to your ID to their notes.
Add them to my account, Dick Tribe statues.
We used to work together.
I don't know how to look it up besides Dick Tribe. Like, how do you look that up? A whole tribe of dicks. Yeah,
There are plenty of statues with dicks. That's what I'm seeing right
That-
now.
that-
Ooh.
That is a
Double
It's
sided.
like one of those double-sided gongs,
Uh-huh.
but instead of a gong, it is a double-sided dick.
I think it has some cool writing along. Like,
It does.
the shaft, too.
Oh, what is this over there? Can read.
It's the next tattoo I'm going to get.
Oh, when I say cool writing, I mean like you're probably writing in their language.
Yeah. Neat looking writing.
It looks cool to me because I can't read it.
Yes.
So, like, just get a tattoo of some other language on your
Just make shit up and make it like
Oh,
it
you
looks
know-
like
Like, or
You know my problem is I put a Dick Tribe. I'm pretty sure any actual article uses penis.
phallus tribe.
Yeah.
That's probably half my problem right there.
There's also a festival annually in Japan that's like, I don't know if this is local to a town or all over Japan, but it's a penis festival. And during the penis festival, I don't think that's what it's actually called. But, you know,
Let's call it the
you know
penis
how
festival.
We have the
like-
testicle festival.
Yeah. Is it the same thing they eat?
Well, they it's like, you know how in Japan, they have like local street festivals where people will
Yeah,
carry
shoot bears.
Yeah, like they'll carry a shrine. Like, a bunch of people carry a shrine down the street. Yeah, there's one that has a giant penis on it. Like, like in the middle of the shrine, and they'll like move it around and stuff.
That's just good advertising. Yeah, I think it's Crestview or Crestline. Or
Yeah, somewhere in Ohio. Yeah,
They have a testicle festival, and what they do is cook testicles and like
of various
flavors
animals.
and- yeah,
not-
different animals.
Where is
Not your own testicles.
Although if you want to, some people might eat them. I don't know.
That is weird.
I mean, after all that prostate stuff you took, you probably don't want to cook your testicles. So, yeah, it's a weird year after all. I'd say not good year.
I'd say good if you're in space.
Yeah.
If you're in the space business.
you're a primate.
I think
We are primates.
it's an alright year. Just the news got worse.
Or the other kinds of primates.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the U.S. versus America. Like, American, by which you mean just the U.S.
That's all that matters.
There were other Americans?
I'll sum up 2017 as it can go fuck itself.
I feel like it's
I feel like 2018
probably
is going to be a
normal
good year.
that it probably didn't mention the population growth, but definitely mentioned the curbs population growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like population growth is a big issue. Like,
No, because Stephen Paddock and others are taking care of it.
I
And the
also just-
hurricanes.
I just look at the U.S. and like,
Okay.
we don't have any population issue. Like, it's other countries that are like
You're right,
stuck
yeah.
in this
It's
area.
like we're at replacement rate, and Africa's at like way beyond that.
Yeah. I just think like how much, like, we're in Ohio, like the amount of room you see is so ridiculous. There's so much room in the
Yeah, I saw if like we lived at the same density as Tokyo, you could fit the entire U.S. inside of Texas.
Exactly.
So like here, we're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
We
That's
got plenty of
like
room.
when people talk about population crisis, it's not the U.S. we're talking about ever, because we don't really have any issues with population. Unless you're talking about specific metro areas, maybe like New York might be overpopulated, but it's
Yeah.
not the U.S. is overpopulated.
And you still have the law to allow people to freely own guns, so I think it'll be a long time to stay at the pretty good 1.8.
What?
I'm what?
Are you trying to say
There's
they own
no
guns so they'll take care of it if it becomes overpopulated?
There's one way to get rid of the population.
Well,
Problem solves
some people are
itself.
doing it, right? Like south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
I feel like 2018, I don't know if that'll be much different or...
It's gonna be a good year.
I'm
so?
looking forward to 2019.
A personally good year.
Okay.
Why is 2019 gonna be a good year?
I feel like
That's a random thing.
I feel like 2019 is gonna be when we start looking at other presidential candidates. So that's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah. Do you think that any like Democrats going to come out, or is it Sanders again?
I'm still voting for Tulsi Gabbard.
You think?
She sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's who I want to run. If it's Bernie Sanders, I'll vote for him. But
Yeah, I feel like
I
he
prefer
would
Tulsi
respond.
Gabbard,
He
honestly.
might be too old. We'll see about
He
that.
might be dead.
What I
Well,
want
he
to
is
happen-
pretty old.
What I want to happen that we were talking about before is we want Tulsi to become president, Bernie Sanders to become vice president, and to have another like buddy cop.
Oh, Biden. That would be awesome.
More memes. That's all I want. Just more memes.
Oh, Biden and Obama memes were kind of some of the best memes. But
Yeah, if he was running, he might have actually been able to compete on dank
easy.
memes.
Oh yeah,
But
easy.
Clinton's dank
Oh,
memes just weren't there.
Hillary Clinton was just. There's
His
nothing
memes
to
are just
like
bad.
about her. Like, what redeeming quality does Hillary Clinton have? Like, I've never thought of her as like she's your usual politician and like entrenched in politics.
I'm with you. I mean, I voted for Bernie too. I have no idea.
But she's a female person.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the only reason I've heard people would vote for her. She's female. Like, okay, but I'd rather have Tulsi Gabbard as the first female president. I
But you
don't
look
want to
and you
give it to
say,
Hillary
what?
Clinton.
Who's going to do something about Wall Street? She's not going to be the one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's she gonna do?
Who's gonna do something about corruption with?
Yeah.
No,
with
it's not
other-
gonna be her.
with
No
other
change.
countries that we have relationships.
Or is it going to be Tulsi Gabbard who resigned from the DNC because of all that stuff to support Bernie Sanders?
Yeah.
Not sure.
Or somebody who said being gay is wrong up until about like 2014 because then it was politically okay
yeah,
to say
exactly.
so.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's politically okay for me to say that. Okay, I'm going to say that now.
Actually, it'll be interesting because it's been a long time since 2008 crash, right? And there is a cycle to it.
Yeah.
We know it might
Yeah.
be coming. So
Oh, that's
we'll
true.
see.
That
a
might be
big
your
crash,
prediction is huge
actually.
crash.
Yeah, 2018.
I've been, yeah.
I'm
been
kind
worried
of curious
that
about
so
that
much.
because they've done like the whole housing crash and they just kind of started doing all that same stuff all over again.
Or good time to buy a house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, if you can.
if you have the cash for it.
Save up your money now and then buy a house when it crashes.
That's true.
On
If you wanna
Hacker
be
News,
draconian about
they
it.
have this like somebody posted their like graph, and they show the GDP to stock market valuation of the Fortune 500 or the S&P 500, and so where 1999 was an equity bubble, and we're actually 9% over that ratio now.
Shit.
So like the value of the S&P 500 is way more than the GDP now than it was in
Last time it
99
happened.
at that equity bubble popping.
Wow.
That's why, like, you know.
That might be
like,
one of
should
the
I be
best
pulling out of the
predictions.
stock market?
2018 might be the big crash.
Yeah.
And then it's all going to happen on Donald Trump's watch. That'll be even better for...
I keep thinking, like...
Or is he going to do something to try and prevent that
He's going to keep the money flowing from the Federal Reserve to make sure it doesn't happen or can't.
Then the next president's going to be fucked because of it.
Yeah.
That's probably going to
I
happen.
predict it's going to have a crash, and it's going to start with the cryptocurrency.
Oh shit! I should sell.
I think
Just like
no.
the
If a big crash happens, cryptocurrency is just going to go higher and higher.
That's the thing. Like, I don't. That's one reason I'm not selling. I don't know which way it would go in the event of a big equity crash.
I think if a big crash happened for equity and anything U.S. related, I think that's just going to skyrocket.
In 2008, gold soared.
I know.
If it's a
That's
replacement
because-
for gold, shouldn't it soar?
Because it's a real estate crash.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
I
no,
think
it's
that's
because
a big reason for it to increase. Like,
it's because it's an anti-inflation thing, gold.
Yeah, gold
So they
has-
thought they were going to inflate, so its price inflated.
and it's a very anti-government
Yeah.
commodity.
But it could
Gold
just be
has a
part of the
backing
bubble.
to it.
I have no fucking idea.
Yeah,
That's why
gold
it's such
has
a huge question.
backing, and the gold has it's a solid item. Bitcoin, not so much, right?
It's a solid item. You can print it out and have your key.
It's really good for buying things on the black market.
You can
Exactly.
replace it with other cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I have a few
like
organs that I can.
right.
And I've learned recently money laundering. Which makes me believe in Bitcoin even more now that I know that it's used for money laundering.
It's like,
oh,
want to buy a
wow.
Hitman? Save up.
The more that criminals use something, the more likely it is.
I have
to
so
be
many
used.
hits I could purchase right now.
Dude, I'm still so mad I didn't buy Bitcoins when I went on like the.
You were on a huge.
I went on
yeah.
Silk Road. I got to where I went on Silk Road. And I'm like, oh shit, man, I might buy a whole bunch of Bitcoins and see if I can actually get some drugs online. And I'm like, nah, it's too much effort. Yeah, and then when I had my miner, I was actually just mining for Bitcoin. I was like, it's gonna go to $1,000. Like it's
$1,000.
Yeah, right. And I needed money, so I sold it at like 500 or so. And then now I'm looking at it like motherfucker.
Yeah,
That's
if there is a signed contract across a lot of nations in the world to ban Bitcoin cryptocurrency.
Are you sure, or does that mean it's gonna soar because it's like
Yeah, I think if you ban it, it makes it
like
more
parents
popular.
telling their kids not to do something.
And
It's
like,
oh, it must be worth a lot then.
At the,
It must be something
at
really
the end
good.
of the day, you still need to cash out your Bitcoin, right? Your Bitcoin has to be exchanged for either service or certain currency for you to be able to use. If a lot of countries ban it, then it will become increasingly difficult for you to get exchanged.
It doesn't have to at the end of the day, though. I mean,
What?
as long as people will still
You
buy
can
it
use
for
Bitcoin
you
even if it's
from a
banned,
certain
it's-
price, it doesn't matter that it can be exchanged for a good or service.
Why?
Because you
commodities
can just
still.
transfer wealth. So I can send money from some country to another country without paying any fees, without any regulation, because people will buy it from me. And they'll buy it in order to sell it to somebody that wants to do the same thing.
It's commodity just getting traded all the
Yeah.
time.
But at the end of the day, you're sitting on this lots of Bitcoins. What do you want to do with it?
What do you want to do with all the diamonds? I mean,
It's the same thing with gold. I give you a bunch of gold and you give me a bunch of money. Then you have that gold to give to a bunch of people to give you money.
But
and so
gold
on and
has
so forth.
monetary values.
But
you
So
can
does Bitcoin. That's
sell,
the point.
sell gold to someone and they can make a jewelry or make a whatever and they
but
can give you the money.
diamonds, industrial use of diamonds is actually fallen.
Industrial use of diamonds
Actual
is very small. right?
man-made diamonds are better now. But it's still a great way to transfer wealth because you can put them on your pocket and get into a plane.
It's small,
So it's a great
yes.
way to smuggle money across borders.
That's a good point.
And the thing is,
Same Bitcoin's even easier.
cryptocurrencies, yeah, it'll replace that. That's.
You don't even have to get on
Maybe.
a plane.
I'm not saying that it will. I'm saying I don't know, and that's why I keep thinking about it every day. So, do I?
I think
sell?
Ethereum
Do I
sounds
not
even
sell?
more likely.
Yeah.
Like what you're telling me.
If I sell, I'm selling Bitcoin and keeping Ethereum.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know. Bitcoin seems just because it's the first on the map and it's one.
Yeah, it has the biggest network effect. It's like Facebook. You got to be really good to take it down.
But then again, MySpace was the first one.
Yeah. So MySpace, yeah. Is it MySpace or is it Facebook?
Yeah, exactly. Which one is it? All right. Well, that's 2017 in a nutshell. Buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Peace out.